Hey, what up? What up? Just want to make a quick video. It's kind of like a post-fight reaction to the Tank performance on Saturday, and kind of a little bit of everything. Just talking about other things here and there. Ryan Garcia in April, and so yeah, that's what we gonna do. But man, this is a lot. It's a lot to take in. With that performance. I say this, within the last 3 fights, and just it's a culmination of those last 3 fights, I'm really realizing, not that I didn't know Tank was a talent or he wasn't good, but within the last 3 fights, he really showed me something. He really showed me something, man. This man's a beast, man. Like, he's on another level, man. It's not just the typical his punching power. That's not what I'm really impressed of. You know what I'm saying? Like, that shit is there. Like, that shit is there and it's always gonna be there. But he's showing me inside of the ring how much more mature he is inside of the ring, and that's inside that square circle. Like, you can't really rattle Tank. You can't really rattle Tank. And he's coming into his if you will say, his older years in boxing, and I think it takes a veteran to be like that, or it takes somebody who's in the ring, who's been in the ring for a long time, to get to that place. And the thing is, not everybody can get to that place in terms of not being shaken by anything that's happened outside of the ring or outside or the crowd. He's showing me that there's nothing that can take him out his game plan. And so within the last 3 fights, he's showing me he has a sense of assurance in himself within that ring, if you get what I'm saying. And there's only only a handful of boxers that can reach that level, besides having talent, but being able to be in that square circle, and being able to shut down everything around him and just being comfortable. And it shows in his game and in his boxing ability, what he's able to do in the ring. Mayweather had reached that kind of level, or had that kind of poise or aura about him. Tank has that right now, and that's what I've seen the last 3 fights. And it's within the last 3 fights, he showed me he has a lot of dimensions to his game. He has a lot of dimensions. He's tough to deal with. You know what I'm saying? Think about it. You gotta deal with somebody who has not power, but I'm talking about knockout power. Like, he's a KO artist. He knows how to get you out of there. He's not somebody that just has power. You got a lot of fighters who have power, and then who has a next level of power. And then on top of that, they are KO artists with it. Tank is every bit of all that. He not only has power, but he has a next level power, and he's a KO artist with it. So he knows how to set you up and everything. Like, everything he does is strategic in there. And it just brings me to say, I'm gonna keep reiterating this. Yo, he's a boxer, man. Like, a lot of people don't give him credit for it, and it's because they like to downplay his skills for his, he just has power, or he just getting these people off instincts. You know, there's a lot of people who fight off instincts, but when it comes to a real opponent, this shit, they're not able to compete. And that brings me to that brings Ryan Garcia to the equation. Ryan Garcia is that kind of fighter. Yeah, he's gonna get these scrubs out of here, but when it comes to a real opponent, he's gonna have some trouble. Right now, Ryan Garcia, he's in that realm of fighters who fight off just instincts or just off quote unquote being gifted. You get what I'm saying? So he can get these KOs or whatever. But when it comes to down to the nitty gritty, when it comes down to actually you have to actually think, he's not gonna be able to compete. He's not, because he's not that kind of fighter. All he fights off of right now, he's fighting off just sheer instincts, and that's all. He's never had the force to no one has ever forced him to think or any of that kind of stuff. Or you never seen him have to force to make an adjustment, because he's not that kind of fighter, and he doesn't have that in him. And that's what's gonna separate him from. That's what's gonna separate Tank from Ryan Garcia. And I'm gonna make a separate video for Ryan Garcia and just expose all his weaknesses, because I've been watching his highlights, and I've been watching Tank highlights. I've been watching other boxers within the 135-pound division highlights, and seeing what they do well and all that kind of stuff. I'm going to expose, I mean, everyone knows what Ryan Garcia lacks and stuff, but I'm just going to go kind of into detail, like, why he's just going to lose to Tank, because he's not ready for it. Like, the bright lights, that's a whole different level of a fight, a whole different level of pressure. I don't think he's ready for that. He's not ready for that. And Tank is, especially with his last 3 fights, he's shown me that, yo, you can't get him out of his game plan. And his ring, he's going to dictate the fight. He's going to dictate the pace. Within the last 3 fights, he showed me his ring generalship, his ring savviness is off the charts. And especially with these last 3 fights, he's fought differently. Against Isaac Cruz, he had messed up his hand within that fight. So he basically had to fight for a good amount of the fight with one hand, kind of, basically. And he had to use his feet a lot within that fight. And he had to use his jab a lot, and he had to really uses actually had to actually have a higher punch output within that fight. I don't remember the copy box numbers, how much he punched that fight, but it seemed like he punched a lot more in that fight. Okay, so it showed me, depending on the situation, he might fight differently. He might give a higher output in terms of his offense. You get what I'm saying? And depending on the opponent, it may be a lower output. So he showed me that depending on the situation of who he's fighting, it varies of how he's going to approach his offense. Is he going to be more reserved a little bit, or he's not going to be, or he's going to be a lot more aggressive. You get what I'm saying? And so within the last 3 fights, he showed me that the man is not worried about anything. All he's worried about is his opponent, and that's another thing. Tank respects his opponent. He respects his opponent. That's why he performs so well. You get what I'm saying? Within the last 2 fights with the Rolly and the this one with the Hector Garcia, I've seen in my opinion, he's been a lot more tighter with his defense. He's been a lot more observant and not letting any slip-ups. You get what I'm saying? I've always said, or I've said that, in my opinion, his best performance was the Rolly performance. That was his best performance, in my opinion. Because he was so sharp in that fight to me. Yeah, there weren't a lot punches thrown, because why? He respects his opponent. Okay, he's not gonna. I could tell he followed the game plan to a T. Okay, and so he was defensively in that fight. He was super sharp. Okay, he ain't really get landed by anything crazy, and he landed the cleaner, bigger shots. You get what I'm saying? And he landed every punch he threw had intent to it. You get what I'm saying? He didn't let anything get out of hand. You get what I'm saying? And so it may not have been the most action-packed fight like the Leo Santa Cruz. People like those kind of fights. He fought Leo Santa Cruz like that because he didn't really respect Leo Santa Cruz. So his defense may not have been as tight, whatever. But depending on his opponent, he fights differently. He saw Rolling Romero. He said, all right, I'm gonna fight you. I'm gonna be really patient with you, and that's what he did with Hector Garcia also. I like the Hector Garcia how he performed in that fight, and how he again was very patient. Defensively, he was really good to me, in my opinion. I think he's a little better defensively in the Rolling Romero fight, but nevertheless, he was very sharp defensively, and then he landed the clean the right shots when it mattered. You get what I'm saying? His inside game in the Hector Garcia fight, the last fight we just had on Saturday, was good too. You get what I'm saying? It's really nice. And the thing about it, everything he does is he's setting you up. He's not trying to force anything. That's one thing about Tank. He doesn't force any knockouts. You don't never see Tank trying to look for a knockout. You don't. Sometimes you may see it, but especially these last two fights, he wasn't trying to get those knockouts. He wasn't forcing anything. Everything that happened in these last two fights came to him, or you set him up, or you let it come to him. Man, that's gonna be a hard man to beat, and I don't think anybody at 135 is going to be able to beat Tank. There might be some good fights. I do think there are going to be some close, good fights. I think him and Jacob would probably be the best, but overall, I think he's going to come out on top. Because how do you contend with that power? You're going to get hit by Tank. You're going to get hit. Hector Garcia got hit so hard. I've never heard of this. He thought he got knocked out or knocked down, whatever. Knocked out. But he didn't. What happened was he couldn't see out of one of his eyes. That's how hard Tank hit him. I have never heard of that. I've never heard somebody hitting somebody so hard that they thought they got knocked out, but they didn't get knocked out. And now they got to stop the fight. I've never heard of that. That's how hard that man hit, man. But yeah, overall, I think that was a good test for him, actually. That was a good test. I think Ryan Garcia is doing himself a disservice by not getting a fight before fighting Tank. That's that's going to be to his detriment, in my opinion. But I'll speak on Ryan Garcia and the Tank fight and what disadvantages that I see, or what weaknesses I see in Ryan Garcia, because I obviously don't think he's going to win. But I'll talk about that in the next video. Please like, comment, subscribe. I'll holler at y'all later.